Hi everybody, thank you for joining me. Today is going to be a really good video. I think you're going to like this. I've got a lot of stuff I want to show you, which are small details that make the guitar so much better and easier to play. Now, let's get right to it. We've almost finished the neck. We're about 95% of the way done. We haven't obviously put in any frets into here yet, but we'll get to that in another video. But the rounding off here, I've done by shoe polishing, where I take the actual, I think I've got a piece here somewhere. I actually take the sandpaper and I do this on it, and then I go back and forth on the neck like this because the grain is running this way, and if you're doing it like so, doing the shoe polish method, you leave scratches in the neck. So by doing that and then going back and forth with the grain, you remove those scratches and you make it nice and smooth. Now I'm down to about 82 hundredths of it, or 82 thousandths of an inch down in here, and up in this area at the 10th fret, I am running at about 94, and ideally 91, and maybe 8200 or 81 down here, but I'm so close, I'm not going to be worried about it, because I can tell you right now, the average hand will never tell the distance of you know, a couple of thousandths of an inch. It just won't make any difference. Now, what I will do once I have the frets on, I will round off the fingerboard so your hand will just flow right around and it'll be much, much easier to play. So I'm going to show you how we fit this to the body in just a second. But before we do that, this is what I do with a small square. I use the straight edge here and I put that on there just like that to make sure I don't see any daylight and that it's straight. And then I know I've got a straight line running from here up into here, because you don't want that going up and down like waves on the lake or on an ocean. And I do it on the sides, and I can see that I've still got just a tad bit there of light showing. So that means doing one more shoe polish and then doing the length again will eliminate that and we'll be all good to go. Now, what I'll do next is I'll place it in this jig here, and I've already done this. I take the radius block and I sand it down here to put a radius of 20 on here. Now 20 represents a 20-foot radius. So if we take that out from being the center point me and I go out 20 feet, that arc is 20 feet. So this is the same as 20. So what you do is you put this down here like this, and if it's flat and you can't see anything underneath, you know you've got the right curvature for the neck. So I take this and I put it down here, and I know I've got 20, but you know what? It doesn't really work up here. So what I've got up in here is 14. So I put this on here and I can see that it fits perfectly. The curvature is there. There's no light underneath it. So it's going to be right for you when you play the guitar. And that'll help keep it in tune as you run up the neck. Now I run the 14 up until about 7. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Somewhere in here, I do the transition from the 14 into the 20. So the 20 is up in this end, and the bigger curvature, the 14 here, is down in here. Now, I'll show you that when we do the fret leveling, and when we get the frets in, it's all going to be good. Now, another thing you do here before we do anything, we think of the future. At some point, somebody is going to have this guitar, and they are going to want to change the frets. So when you pull the frets out, it's going to chip the fretboard along here. To help prevent that, I have these small needle files. And what I do is I take these needle files and I will go very carefully. Let's do one right in here. I'll go like this, and I take the edge off of the slot where the fret's going. So if you look at it right now, it goes like this and straight down. What's going to happen is it's going to come in on an angle, then down, so that when you lift the fret out, it won't chip the fingerboard if you ever need to be in a situation where you have to refret it. Now, it's easy to forget to do this, and you don't need a lot, because if you did too much, when the fret sits down in with the little tangs that sit out like my knuckles are right here, when they go out against the side of the fret, if you have too much of an angle, you could come down to the point that it just doesn't fit and doesn't hold, and you don't want that. So you got to be careful, but it's worth noting that that will save a future problem, and whoever it is that changes these frets one day will be very happy that those frets are like that. Now, I tell you, we're going to go right now and I'll show you how we fit this neck to the body. It sits up in here like this, and I'm approximately where it should go. And I can see that when I put the clamp on here to glue it here, because what we're going to be doing is we're going to glue it underneath here, and it's going to sit tight here. This is all really, really good. Let's show you. Here's what we do now. In order, I've got a neat idea I want to show you in just a minute. This is what we do to make sure we get a fully flat fit. This is a 400 grit. Sometimes they use 220. And what that does is that sands this little piece in here, because what we have done in here, remember we did the recess here with the router, and I have then taken a chisel and put a chamfer, cut this on an angle, so this is nice and thin up here, and we don't need very much pulling on that. And I can tell already that this is going to look pretty darn good. I'm very happy with this. So you've seen me do that. I don't need to do a whole bunch of this, because honestly this fits. Yeah, it's pulling all the way down. Well, I think that's going to be just great. Let's have another look. Yes, so that's what you do in order to get that nice and tight in that area. Now I will put the bolts in to make sure we get this thing all straightened up, because it may be that I need to make some kind of adjustment there yet. I don't know. The other possibility here that you always want to check on is that you have this part of your guitar body flat. And I've got that perfectly flat there, perfectly flat coming down here, perfectly flat going this way. So when you put that on there, it's not falling away. I want this little area, the width of this right here, down to the bottom down here, perfectly flat, so that I can make that work. Now, I put some polish on here, like I've rubbed the finish on here, and I'm not thrilled with the clear coat that I put on here, but it's there and it's nice and smooth. And here's something I came up with today. I took this, my sander, and I sacrificed an old towel that I had down here in the shop for doing some cleanup, and I simply turned it on. And I ran it back and forth, and I gotta tell you, it's better than my hands. Of course, we know my hands shake, but not quite as fast as that. So it's pretty darn good, and it's got a nice shine to it. I'll put some more polish on there, and then this is you know, this will get all mussed up and messed up there, and I'll take that and throw that away. So that's about it. So we know how this fits. It fits great. We're going to fix up here. Now, one of the things, by the way, that you need to do on the neck, and I did not tell you this earlier, I use a scalpel, but you could use an X-Acto knife. You need to go into each slot and make sure that there's no sawdust left in there. And I will do this several times before I put the frets in. So we're going to do the frets. I'll show you that. I've got to cut each fret to size, and then I've got to fix the ends of the frets, and I'll show you how we do that. So we got a lot of work to do here yet, but we're closing in on getting this glued to the body and getting it all shaped up. Now what I'm going to do, and I've got another couple of ideas. I'm bringing the body around here like this. This is a great vise, by the way, if you haven't got one. It fits loosely so that it will take anything. It'll go in on an angle like this or an angle like that or straight, whatever you need. So now what I'm going to do here is, let's just see what this does. Okay, now there's no wax on there. That has simply been sanded and it's smooth, and it's going to work great. Now, up in here, obviously something like this isn't going to work all that well. So I thought about that while I was sleeping last night, and I also came up with another idea. Let me show you this. This is the sanding piece that I use for something that's round. And what I'm going to do, because this goes onto the drill, I'm going to pull a sock over this. And then I'm going to stick this in the end of the drill. If I can get it in there. And then I just have to do this. And I'll do that with a sock on there, or some cloth, or a piece of the towel I'll put on there, and that will do the waist in here very nicely. So there's always a workaround, right? You can work around everything. Now, I only have one thing left to do today. I'm going to work on this. I'm going to work on this. So I've got my work cut out for me. But before we do any of that, we know that it's time for some English breakfast tea, because I think I've earned it today. And I hope you agree, and I hope you've got yours. Let's have a tea with Monty. So I would like you to send me your questions. If you've got a question about the guitar body, the build, the finish, the neck, any part of the guitar at all, you want to talk humidity, you want to talk cracks, you want to talk repairs, whatever your concern is, send me a question. tryitnow1940@gmail.com will get that question to me, and I'll put a link in down below so you can see where to do that. It's there anyway in all my videos. So send me along your question, and I will do another video where I answer your questions. And if you want to know the best tea to have, it's English breakfast, of course, with a little bit of milk, sometimes a cream, but you'll enjoy it. Thanks so much. Wow, that is so good. Now I've been outside, I filled up the snowblower. We're getting that big storm tomorrow morning, and I've got it all topped up with gas so that my wife doesn't run out halfway through the job. Got to do the job right, you know. I believe in that. Goodbye, everybody. I'll see you in the next video, assuming she doesn't shoot me in the meantime. Bye for now.